Hello, Prog fans. Today I am conducting a video interview with the amazing Rob Reed, whose list of achievements span the early days with Cyan as well as Ezra and Fireworks, and then forming the brilliant and still very strong Magenta that is actually releasing a brand new album called Tarot that will be imminently released. He has also done amazing work with a project called Compendium, a slew of solo albums, one better than the other, as well as an offshoot, more electronic pop thingy called Chimpan A. So I have 30 titles in my collection, and he is a personal favorite of mine for over 40 years now. So my first question of many will be, neo-prog, symphonic prog, electronic pop. You have delved in rather brilliant fashion in the past. What other style would you ever consider? Jazz, jazz rock, opera, blues, rock, etc.? Which one?
I love all styles of music. So, I love all styles of music. So I want to try everything. And um, yeah, I've done pretty much, what I like style wise. There's certain styles that I could never do and I don't particularly like. But I wouldn't mind doing a bit more classical music. I like doing that, and having done, on this new album, a lot of orchestral arrangements. I wouldn't mind having a go at that. And I like a folk album. I love folk music and Celtic music. I wouldn't mind dipping into that. But then I do a bit of that on the solo albums. So, I've pretty much done over those 40 odd albums. I've done a lot of stuff that I like really, but I'm always listening. I don't really listen to much progressive rock music, so I'm doing it all day. So when it comes to the evening, I'm listening to something completely different to take my mind away from it. So I'm always looking for influences and listening to stuff. And I love film music, Ennio Morricone and John Barry, John Williams. So I wish I'd done more film stuff. I've done a couple of things, but I think in another life I would be doing that. But you need to dedicate yourself to it 100% to become a film composer. But I think I'd be good at that. And one day I wouldn't mind having a crack at a big film.
So since we're talking about influences, obviously Michael Oldfield is a very big one. He unfortunately, I have to say, he surpasses you in the number of albums, because I think I have like 55 by now.
But they're all tubular bells.
Yeah, literally. And all the offshoot stuff, etc. So would there be any other idols or mentors that you feel would have influenced you, or and if you want to speak about Oldfield, please do. I mean, there's very little said out there about that relationship that you had with his music.
That's my first biggest influence is Mike Oldfield's music. That sort of got me into learning to play all the different instruments and learning to use the studio. And that's from a young age, after hearing tubular bells and then just loving it, and followed it right up really. But like there's other influences. Being a keyboard player first, one of the first records I heard when I was like 6 years old was David Bowie, Life on Mars. And I loved that record, and I loved the piano playing on it. I didn't have a clue at that age that there was Rick Wakeman playing the piano on it, but I just loved the sound of the piano and the way it was played. So I decided to have piano lessons on the back of that record. And my piano playing style is very much influenced by Rick Wakeman's piano style. So he's a huge influence from a piano playing. And then, as I said, because I listen to such a broad church of music, like Jeff Lynne's and ELO are my favorite band. So I think his songwriting and production is second to none, really. Out of the Blue and New World Record is some of
Yeah.
the best sounding albums you'll ever hear. Yeah, so I think that they're the three for me. It was Rick.
Would it be fair because of Cursus 123430,
Mm,
which I happen to adore, by the way. I think
mm,
that's quite an
yeah,
interesting album. It caught me completely off guard, and I was struck really by the Vangelis feel to it all.
yes. Again,
Um,
I listen to it. I'm not a huge fan. I've got 3 or 4 albums, but
mhm.
I like the style of it. I like the production of it, of Vangelis' stuff. It's synth based, but then it's got piano and it's got orchestral percussion in there and stuff. And I love that. And Jean-Michel Jarre, I love
Mhm.
the first 2 or 3 albums of his.
Yes,
And I think that the Cursus album was my lockdown album because I thought, what am I going to do? Because we couldn't go out and play and do gigs. I thought, what shall I do? So I thought I'll buy a few synths. I'll make a Tangerine Dream
yeah,
Vangelis album.
yeah. It's
And it
very
came out
cool.
really good. I think it was. I don't think I've got another one in me to do another one, but it was. I really enjoyed doing it. It was because it was completely new, working with all the synths and having to program the synths and actually play it because you couldn't sequence it. You can't sequence a lot of these old synths.
Of
So
course.
that was really good. But yeah, there's so many people that have influenced me over the years. But it's all the obvious ones as well.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
Tony
it was,
Banks and
yeah.
Roger Waters. It's just yeah.
Well, it's funny because, when people ask me, because of my 50-year relationship with prog music, you always get that silly question is that, well, what's your definition of progressive music? Which
Uh,
is about the most ridiculous question you can possibly ask in music, simply because my answer is that it's very simple. It's the only type of musical genre that incorporates every other musical genre.
yeah, and
And,
I think
that,
and
that's what,
that's why my musical output is so varied. You
yes.
know, because and I'll mix and match with all the different projects, and
Mhm.
I think I'd be bored. If I just made Magenta records one after another, I think I'd burn out and I'd start repeating myself and get
Yes.
bored. But allowing me to go to these other albums when I come back to it is fresh.
I really liked, I'll be honest, my first, before I got into Magenta, I really got into Cyan.
Mm, yeah,
That first album in particular, which was, I guess pretty much at your beginners in terms of
yeah.
recording. And what I liked about it is that it was totally, underproduced, which
Mm,
I happen to love,
mm,
because it sounds organic and real and heartfelt. And
yeah,
I think honestly of the three albums, even though they're all really, really good and I enjoyed them really from the get-go, that
yeah,
first album, for whatever mythical reason, has the melodies, I think, more than anything, has had a very strong lingering effect, the afterglow.
yeah.
In
I
your
think
entire discography, that first album is like, I don't know, special.
But it is. I think the reason it's special is because they're the first songs that I ever wrote,
Mhm.
and there was no baggage around.
Yeah.
There was an innocence about those songs. So
Yes.
you're making it purely for pleasure, for
Mhm.
not thinking, is it going to sell? Are the fans going to like it? Am I going to play it live? And I was just coming out of school,
Mhm.
and there's a total innocence, and I wish I had that innocence now. But now there's too many things in my brain. There's too much information and too many um, uh,
Constraint.
restraints to do it now because you're thinking,
Yeah.
oh, this and that. But the technology I did that on, I
Mhm.
would never have dreamt when I made that first record. I would have so much equipment
Mhm.
and having played with all these people that were my heroes and met
Mhm.
and all that kind of stuff. It's mad. But there's definitely something about those songs on that first record that I haven't been able to capture. Uh, I've tried, you're doing it, but you think there's always that. Oh, But when I made that record, I wanted to be in Genesis. I wanted to be in Yes. I wanted to be in It
Yes,
Bites,
of
and
course.
I didn't care, and I wanted to make music that was like that,
Well, the
and that
best
people could,
music is the one that doesn't have any, pre-established barriers on it, especially in
yeah,
progressive
that's
music.
what it is, and I say it led from making that because I made that record. I I originally made a cassette with 3 tracks on it when I was in school with a band that were all in school with me,
Hmm.
and we did it. And I thought, what do I do with this? The idea of having a record deal was so crazy. So I just sent it out to a few people, and I was a fan of Pendragon,
Hmm.
and I sent it to Nick Barrett just to see what he thought of it.
Hmm.
And he he wrote back to me. This is back like 1985, 86, and he said, "Oh, I really like this one track. Call Me." He said, "That's great. I love that song." And he said, "It's brilliant. You want to carry on doing this?" And I didn't do nothing for about 3 years. And then I had, out of the blue, a record company in Holland messaged me, sent me a letter saying, "I've had this cassette off Nick Barrett. Can you make an album?" And he was like,
That, that
"Yeah,
must
go
have
on."
been that must have been SI, right?
Yeah, so I SI Music. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. I'd completely given up on it. And all the band that was in school had all left. So I had to make the record on my own. And I ended up singing it and playing it. And it was done on really basic. But then we put it out and it did well. It sold well. And then we made another two. And it would have been the fourth one, the planned fourth album for Cyan was Revolutions, basically.
Of
That
course.
that was the music it was going to be. But then I had the idea of changing the singer and having a female singer,
Hmm.
and it became Magenta.
Now, tell me, you also did you re-recorded them, the Cyan albums.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah,
as I mentioned to you, I have the original
yeah,
1980s and the
yeah,
new
yeah.
one, and I
Okay,
still
great.
like the older one.
Oh, I know. It's what you're used to in it, but yeah, I like the new versions. They're a bit more complete and a bit more what I hear in my head. But and I think Pete's an amazing singer. That sings them.
Mhm.
And I've just finished well, I haven't finished it. I'm halfway through doing the third album, The Creeping Vine. So we're finishing that off at the moment, and that sounds good. But it'll be nice to get the three of them out and
Mhm.
done, so we can do some new Cyan music. That's the plan: is to write some new tracks.
Chimpanzee. Wow, talk about they call me the Prog Rogue because I frankly don't give a damn what people think.
Mm.
You know? So
Well, yeah, that's
as you know, it got the elitists because there's elitists everywhere in every sphere
mm,
of art, especially. There's the purists, the ones that said, "Oh, how
yeah,
can you do an electronic pop album?" And my argument was, well, I first heard Steve Balsamo on the IO Earth debut album,
yes,
and
yeah.
I mean, the term helium voice, I think, is quite
Oh,
appropriate.
well, yeah, well, he spent his he sang with John Lord and Alan Parsons. He did all that,
Yeah.
and he did the
Jesus Christ
Superstar.
Superstar.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did that. So he's done so much stuff, and
Yeah.
to me, he's got one of the best voices ever.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think his voice is incredible. And
Absolutely.
doing that, the Chimpanzee album, it's just really nice to go into that world. If anything, I think out of all the albums I've made, that's the most progressive
Hmm.
in the truest form because it
Absolutely.
mixes jazz with rock, with folk, with spoken word, opera, and it's the most progressive rock. But
And it's
to
very,
the gone.
I wanted to tell you something is that I also am involved in a band called Enigmatic Sound Machines.
Oh,
Um,
great title.
and Enigmatic Sound Machines is basically a retro-futuristic, progressive new wave, taking the 80s music and putting a strong prog veneer, which is mellotrons and
Mm,
cowbells and tubular bells,
yeah,
God bless you, and many other instruments. And of course, the name also had a very karmatic connotation with Empathy Machine, because that is
Yeah, yeah.
that album has, in my mind, is probably my number two favorite of everything you did after Seven.
Mm, yeah,
Simply because everything about it is just otherworldly. The artwork,
mm, yeah,
the look, the feel, the singing, the mood, especially the mood, the melodies.
yeah.
Wow, really an
No, that's
incredible album.
thank you, thank you. It's there's a lot of work to do that, and again, that came out during COVID. We
Mhm.
released that album, but it suited the time because it was so bonkers. The time the album, people really listened to it and got into it, and you're right, it does sound otherworldly. But again, there was no rules in making that record. There never have been, and I like that.
Mhm.
We were on about the constraints that we got with the Chimpanzee. There are no constraints. We just do whatever we want, and as long as it's got emotion in there, I think all the singers bring so much emotion to it. But it is, it's far more prog than everything else I do because it's so unusual and
And
people
that's a
like it. You know,
very interesting comment you have. You see, because I noticed one thing that was really interesting as I grew up as a child listening to classical music because my parents were listening to
yeah,
that. So, and then I discovered the Beatles, and then, the rest is history,
yeah,
and then, mentioned the Mellotron and the Moog and Woodstock and whatever, and the rest just went on its natural course. But, for me, it really comes down to three things. I have an acronym for it. It's called PAM. And PAM is basically the three requisites for making beautiful music, regardless of the style. The first P is for passion,
yeah,
A is for atmosphere,
yeah.
M is for melody.
Melody is everything for me.
And if you
I
have
totally
those
to it.
three, and if you have those three,
Yeah.
who cares if someone doesn't like it? You know
Well,
what I
that's it.
mean?
Well, that's it. I think for me that's everything
Yeah.
that that I do. It's all about the melody. I don't write complicated music that
Yeah.
is clever and showy. I don't do that. And the whittle and the million miles an hour, I can't do it. My brain can't do it. It's all about the melodies. It's about the vocals and the melody. That is king. And without that, you've had it. I think you might appeal to other musicians by the cleverness of it, but you won't get an audience who will actually connect to it without a great melody. And that's
Absolutely.
everything.
No,
You
you
know?
have I like to put your solo albums, so the Rob Reed albums, on a
Mm,
separate little universe. I have a
mm,
particularly strong affinity for a musician that you may have heard of called Colin Masson. And
yeah,
Colin Masson was in a sort of a Celtic band called the Morrigan. And
yes, got
they
rings a
had
bell. Yeah,
yeah, they had a, not necessarily a very successful in terms of sales, I presume, or in impact, but I really like their albums. And Colin, in particular, has this same attitude as you do. First of all, he also is a huge Michael Oldfield fan, but I mean massive. And you
mm,
can really detect it in his acoustic guitar work. It's very,
yeah,
very obvious how he
yeah,
plays that guitar as opposed to,
yeah.
what pick? There's no pick there.
No,
Um, and he's been extraordinarily prolific. And I always found that fascinating, that why are musicians able to be prolific? Well, that's because they're lit, there's this inner fire where
mm,
the well doesn't seem to ever want to dry up, and it
no.
just keeps
Well,
on
yeah,
coming and coming and coming and coming. And the man put out like three albums in less than a year. It's crazy, and
well,
all of it is very good on top of it.
yeah. I think it's like we just enjoy. I do. I enjoy it every day. I'm very lucky to be able to do it.
Yes,
Very, very lucky. So, and I appreciate that. The people, people who buy the records, people like yourself that enthuse about it and spread the word. It all helps. And, Yeah,
Well, very few of us really make a living with this. I mean, my partner in music, I'm not a musician per se. I have a couple of guitars here and I have a little mini
mm,
Nova behind me. So I'm basically more of my attributes are more than, as I like to tell some of my musician friends, that you may have played a lot of music, but I've heard way more than you have.
yeah, yeah. And I think, well,
So,
I think that you listen to music differently than I do,
mhm,
and I I wish I could listen to music like you without over analyzing it too much.
mhm.
Because I'm listening to everything. I'm listening to the drums. I'm listening to this and that. I go to see a concert. I'm thinking, what's the sound? Who's playing what? I can't sit back and just enjoy the music. So
Yes.
double-edged sword.
Indeed. So I'm one of the fortunate ones that I'm able to be a fan and a creative force as well.
Yeah.
We have some very interesting. Well, our bass player is a very well-known Hansford Rowe. He used to be in Gong,
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah. He
you
used
may
to
have
play with
heard of
Mike
him.
Oldfield. He was in
Yes,
Mike Oldfield's band. Yeah,
exactly. That's why I wanted to mention it.
yeah. Hans Woodrow.
He's
I
now
saw
part
him
of
live.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
part of Enigmatic Sound Machines, and I have a very funny anecdote if you'd like to hear it. It's
come
quite
on in. Yeah, yeah.
it's
Go on.
quite so Hansford lives in Montreal, where I live in
Yeah,
Montreal, Canada, and about 20, oh, I'd say 30 years ago, Jeremy, my partner in music, used to be with a band called Men Without Hats, who had this famous hit
I
single
know.
called Safety Dance
Yeah.
and whatever. And then he basically broke up with them and he went on his own way. And I was asked by Jeremy to go see Hansford and introduce myself. So I went to his apartment and I rang the doorbell and he opened the door. And instead of saying, "Hi, how are you? My name is Thomas." And I actually imitated with my voice one of his most famous bass runs. Where I went
Right. Okay.
do 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 do, and he was on the floor. Like you meet someone for the first time and he
Yeah.
doesn't say anything. He just repeats one of your bass lines.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Quite momentous.
he's a great player in the Gong with him and Pierre Moulin in the
Yes.
Gong albums, the Shamal and all that. It's and yeah, playing with Mike on that one too. Yeah, it's great player, good guy. Oh, it's good to know.
Yes.
Good to know.
So you see, the point of all of this is that we're all really interconnected. You see, we may
Mm,
not know each other. We have the privilege. I have the privilege of speaking with you, but I'm very comfortable because I know your music. So I mean,
yeah, yeah. Well, it says a lot about somebody. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that creates this sense of community. We all know each other, so
Mm,
it's wonderful because as you know very well, you're of that generation who literally saw the crucifixion of Prague, where it was
mm,
literally impaled on nails of ice by Melody Maker and New Musical Express and Cream, and every tabloid
mm,
jumped on the punk
yeah,
bandwagon, and the
yeah,
idea was, unfortunately, it's a very bad human tendency that you have to destroy something in order to promote
yeah,
something
yeah.
else. And the vengeance came, with the Palace and the Pendragon and the IQ and the Marillions who kept the flame going.
Yeah.
And today, I'm fortunate enough. I have met musicians all over the world who
Mm,
are progressive musicians and who are, daytime architects or business owners or dentists
mm,
or whatever. And when
yeah,
I
yeah.
meet, they're completely blown away that there's this guy in Montreal who knows our music. It's like,
Oh,
wow, that's incredible.
I agree. It is. It's a great community. And as I said, back in the dark days when we started Magenta,
Yes.
it was nobody wanted to be prog. It was the most unhip thing to be done, and a lot of the bands who now fly the flag of being a prog bands, they were like, oh, we're not prog. They didn't want to be associated, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's a bit of money to be made in prog, and they're like, yeah, we want to be prog now, and it's quite weird. It's a very crowded market at the moment. There's a lot of records coming out, as you probably know, isn't it? Back
Uh,
in the 80s, there was one album a month, if you're lucky.
2025, there was 1,575 prog releases in the world.
it's madness. And a lot of them are mine. No, but it's
You know, so that it bodes well. Now, very quickly, can you tell me a bit about Tubular All Stars?
God,
There's no
why did I
info
make
on
that?
it whatsoever.
I'm trying to think what it was. It was, I think with that, there are a load of people that are influenced by Mike Oldfield, and there's a lot of tribute bands, especially in Europe, that go around playing the music of Mike Oldfield. There's about at least 7 or 8 of them, and I had done a couple of sections of Tubular Bells, just for the fun of it, and for various projects, and I just got in touch with everyone, all these bands I was meeting, and I said, why don't we all do a section each of Tubular Bells and put it together, and then get it mixed by Tom Newman, that mixed the original Tubular Bells with Mike Oldfield. And that was the idea, really. There was all these people, and there's some fantastic players, like you said, the friend that you mentioned, and that are influenced by Mike Oldfield. But it's big business in Europe at the moment. There's a touring band at the moment playing Tubular Bells live around all the venues.
Wow!
And they are playing to more people than Mike Oldfield ever played to, which is bizarre, really bizarre. I think that the opening 5 minutes of Tubular Bells is much bigger than the name Mike Oldfield. It's that people know that without even knowing where it's come from. That's a very iconic bit of music. So people will come out to hear Tubular Bells, don't even know it's Mike Oldfield. They don't even care. They just want to hear that. But that album, as I said, it was done with all these people that I were meeting that were becoming, they were like, oh, I'm a huge fan. I was like, well, you do that section, I'll do this section. You do that, you do that. And we had people that had played with Mike in the past to do it, to come on and do it, to do bits on it. And it was just an all-star cast, really, to do it. It was good fun. It came out really well in the end. I think it sounded pretty good.
And last but not least, giving you a good 20 minutes to talk about it, is
No, go on. I got lots to talk about. Go on. Whatever you want. You ask the questions.
This.
Yes, let's talk about that. That's what we're here for, isn't it? Where did you get that cover from? That looks great.
I'm a crafty devil. You sent me via Bella the
artwork.
pre-release. No, you actually sent me the album. So I burned it. From Wave or MP3 or whatever. The CD. And I went to get the artwork, which was already on Prog Archives because someone had already installed it as an upcoming album.
It looks great.
And I just simply printed it on my wonderful Epson printer, and it's the real deal.
I like it. Oh, I'm looking forward to Bella, because I haven't got a copy yet. It's still being pressed, and when we're doing a special edition, all singing and dancing with surround mixes, extra discs, and tarot cards and photographs and all this is all that kind of stuff, which I like doing all that. But yeah, this album, Tarot, I say we've been going 25 years, so it's a bit of a struggle to keep coming up with something new. And I said it just went back to that, as I said, and it went back to the Renaissance days. And I actually wrote it with Christina in mind, which is a first after 25 years. I don't know why I hadn't done it in the past. Normally I would write the song and I would hear Peter Gabriel or Phil Collins or whatever, when you're writing, just to get the idea down. But I just imagined her singing it. So when she came to sing it, we'd done a lot of work on it. It fitted so much better. And I think having, I played the bass on it because I love playing bass. And then we got Nick to the Virgilio playing drums on it from Big Big Train and Steve Hackett and everything else he's done. And I think, I think the end for me, I think it's the most consistent album that we've done from start to finish, sonically and stylistically. Because sometimes earlier albums will go into Genesis, into Pink Floyd, into whatever, into ELO or whatever. any band. But this album, I think it's got a sound which I like, and it keeps it from start to finish. And I think it benefits from that. And it's not too long. I'm not a big fan of long albums. I think it's 50 minutes, 52 minutes is enough.
Mhm.
And as I said, I think it's the most Magenta album we've done, which is quite weird. I know it's new in my head or whatever, and it's the freshest one I've done, but I just like the consistency of it. You know, whether or not the songs are as good as Seven, and which is the all-time high again, and that was written. Seven was written with innocence. Again, it was that time of innocence. It was a
Oh,
very early album. I'd done Revolutions, which I didn't know what we were going to do with. If it was going to be a band, and then it's like, oh, we need another one. Oh, I'll just write another one. No pressure to do it. Whereas now, 10 albums in, you're like thinking, what do the fans want? What do I want? What does Tina want? What do anybody want? But I think I'm really proud of this new album. I think she sings it the best. Chris plays the best guitar on it, and the drums are brilliant. I do a fair job of playing bass, which I love. And yeah, but it's an album that needs, like all good albums, it needs at least, I'd say, 3 or 4 listens to get it. Because I played it to people on a first listen, and they're like, what is that? And then they go, oh, and then 3 or 4 listens in, they're like, I love it, I'm addicted to it, I can't stop playing it. I'm like, well, that's a sign of a good record, really. you
that's the
know
good sign of a prog record in
oh
particular.
yeah, but I think any record, I think if it's too easy, you're gonna get bored.
Of
You got
course.
to keep finding things there. Like, you listen back and I'd forgotten about that bit. And then a hook and something happens. You go, oh, I like that every time. Like any album. For me, all the best albums, they take a few listens.
And and your the storytelling is good too. I mean, I really
Mm,
the 27 Club was like a big, you know, how can I put this? A big surprise because no one had ever thought of doing, that 27 Club
yeah,
as a concept album. They may have done individual songs, but never in a
songs, yeah.
package like that, you
But
know?
I like that. I like to write, to have something in my head, a character, a story for a track.
Mhm.
So even though I start when I write it, it's just the music and me singing any old words.
Mhm.
I still I still start thinking, oh, what does it remind me of? What character is it? And then I'd go to my brother who writes the lyrics,
Mhm.
and I'd say, look, I think this song should be about Mozart, or this song should be about Houdini, or on the new album, that's where there's Joan of Arc, Guinevere,
Mhm.
Mozart, Houdini, and then we thought, come up with a tarot card that would represent their life, basically. And that was the way into it. And then it's always good. It's always good with a prog album to have a concept, I think.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what made Seven such a revelation. I know
Mm,
when I heard Envy the first time, I didn't need to
yeah.
do it 3 times. It's like I got it
No, that's a great, you
from
know.
from
But
the
but
get-go. I
you,
was in love.
yeah, but you can't. That's the thing, I'm always striving for the best song. You're always looking for and some songs are much easier. Some songs are more difficult. Difficult birth on it, and the quicker the song, like on the new album, the closing track, Taro, which is becoming everyone's loving at the moment. Everyone going, oh, it's a classic or whatever, a Magenta or whatever. That was the quickest song I wrote because I thought it needed a song at the end, which was a bit more easier on the ears because like the 5 songs before it are quite complicated and quite enduring. But I thought the last song needed to rest you down a little bit. And that was a really quick song to write. And now all of a sudden everyone's going, oh, because we've released that with a video, with a promo video.
Yes.
So we're getting feedback on that, and but you can't tell when you write these songs which are the ones that are going to be the ones everyone likes. So
And there I read in the preamble because being a critic, and I have to be on top of things. So I have I receive albums before they're officially released. I ask permission
Mm,
to write a review. Many say yes, some say wait, and whatever. So I get a lot of advance notice.
yeah,
And the advance notices were, opinions of people who are nearby or aware. It could be a label or whatever. But I sort of heard through the grapevine that there was a sort of a renaissance, the band,
yeah,
renaissance influence on tarot. Is that in any which is, kind of funny because Christina was initially and perhaps
yeah.
always viewed as, the second incarnation of Annie Haslam, which I
Well, the weird thing,
is every British female singer is the incarnation of Annie Haslam.
she does sound like her, but Christina has no references to any prog bands. She knows nothing about prog, so she didn't know. People were saying, "Oh, you sound like Annie Haslam." Who?
Yeah,
She didn't know Renaissance, so it's not a conscious thing. It's just the way it comes out.
that's
We ended up working with Annie.
yeah, that's
Well,
beautiful,
well,
right?
we did a track with her and met her at when we played in Rosfest.
Mhm.
We did that, and she was there. And, and I think her voice is amazing. Those early albums are a massive influence on me, and it was great to meet her and stuff. But yeah, there's definitely, that, as I said, that's the sound I had in my head. It was a cross for this new album, it's a cross between Renaissance and ELO. They were the two references for me.
Wow.
Both got great songs. Great songs.
Excellent. Well, I look very much forward to getting that. And it's kind of ironic because I'm looking at my screen here and I have all my Magenta albums listed because of course,
Mm,
I'm very anal, so I have a Excel spreadsheet with all my albums written on it, all
mm,
9,455 or whatever. Um, and I actually write who are the musicians. So if I look at Magenta, I have, the next column is UK, what country, and then the next column is the name of the album, and the next column is it a CD, an LP, or whatever, or an EP.
mm.
And then there's the next column, which is the year in which it came out. Then the next column is the rating.
What?
The next column is what kind of music is it? Prog, jazz rock,
Yeah,
or whatever. And then the next five columns are, guitar, keyboards, bass, drums.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
If you want to call me a fanatic, then just get rid of the
No, I think,
fanatic and keep the word fan because that's definitely who I am.
yeah, yeah.
I so I'm looking at that, and right underneath Magenta, there's Magic Brother and Mystic Sister from Spain, and their first
Right.
album in 2020 was called, self-titled, and their second album in 2024 is strangely karma wise called Tarot Part One.
Yeah. Mm. Well, it's
Screenshot and send it to you. If you don't believe me.
bizarre. Yeah,
I look at
bizarre.
this and I'm going, and people believe in coincidences. Unbelievable.
Well, yeah, yeah. That's it. Well,
There's
it's true, isn't it?
there's a reason for everything. Everything has a
Yeah,
reason and a place, and there's
yeah,
no such thing as coincidence. It doesn't exist.
yeah.
It's the way young, immature minds find comfort in believing in something that it has to be coincidence. There's no coincidence in anything
No.
you do and in any, well, anyway, it was really a big pleasure. Like I said, I'm
Okay.
following your career since day one, so
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
my pleasure. It's definitely worth it. I think this next album is going to keep the flame of progressive rock going. I know how difficult it is. I have, lots of
Mm,
friends in the UK. I know exactly how difficult it is to be a musician, how difficult it is to earn a living with that as well. Uh,
mm.
it's the same everywhere in the world, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
I hope to. I will certainly prepare a review when the moment is right for the release and post them on my three sites.
Thank you. That'd be brilliant. Thank you.
Rest assured, I don't do, as I mentioned to you earlier, I don't do negative reviews. I have
No, no, no. Whatever you feel.
to me, it makes no sense. It's like a vegetarian going into a steakhouse and trying to do a review of it. It's
Mm,
senseless. You know, if I don't like
yeah.
it, there's so much good music. You know, I'll finish with this statement, and I hope you agree. Having lived through the glory days of progressive rock, and by goodness, there were glorious days. There's no doubt about
Mm,
it. I mean,
yeah.
iconic pieces of music. But to be very frank, since the mid 80s, there has been way more in amount and in quality of
Mm,
mind-blowingly good music than
yeah,
there,
yeah, that's true.
like
Yeah, it was.
from everywhere in the world. Someone once said to
Yeah.
me, if I can have two fans, just two people who love my music in every major city in the world, I would be a very, very, very happy man.
Mm. Yeah, yeah,
Whichever way you want to put that, right?
yeah. No, I agree. I agree. That's great. Well, we're lucky, and I'm lucky. Yeah. So
Yes, well, we are lucky, yes, because there is no artist without a fan, and there's no fan without a
no, I said that. Yeah, all along. I'm grateful for the work you do, and say thanks for doing this. You know,
my pleasure.
taking the time. It's great to speak to you, and thank you for buying all the records. And there's plenty more coming. There's plenty more.
Well, I will definitely keep in touch with you.
Yeah.
I know where you are, so
Yeah. Well, drop me a line there whenever. Yeah, do it. Do it.
good, excellent.
Okay.
I guess I'm the last interview. Or
For today, for today, I think it is. No, it's been good. It's different questions you've asked. A lot of the same questions, but it was good. It's good, and the fact that you're a fan as well, it helps that we
yes,
know what we're talking about.
yes, exactly. It's like kindred spirits, right? Which
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
stays
yeah.
work.
Good luck with the music.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. All right.
Okay. Yeah, great. Take
Thank
care. Look after yourself.
thank
No,
you,
thank you.
and
All
looking
right.
forward to it. Bye.
We got there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.